Edmund Burke, a respected Irish statesman, famously observed that bad laws are the worst form of tyranny. The University Act 2012 is the single most serious threat to our academic freedom, which is a fundamental right under Article 33 of our Constitution. The drafters of the University Act executed an evil scheme to lock out dons from the university governance structure. By excluding us from university councils and KIU particularly, the Act reduced us to mere consumers of policies. We have no hand in their creation. It took away our right to influence policy, which is at the heart of academic freedom. The Constitution under Article 10 gives us the right to participate in the governance of our universities. The drafters of the Constitution were clear in their minds that through shared governance, we would achieve shared prosperity. Therefore, our governance structures must reflect our national values of inclusivity and equity in representation, not bodies that are dominated by external stakeholders while marginalizing internal stakeholders. To ensure balanced policy, and decisions that cater for the interests of all. My friends, we must claim back our space in the governance of our universities and transform them into melting points of academic freedom, creativity, and democracy. I appreciate the great effort by our national office of negotiating our recognition agreement 2019. However, the agreement has terribly failed to achieve its intended purpose because it is based on goodwill which doesn't exist. The relationship between university councils on one hand and union chapters on the other is usually adversarial, to say the least. The numerous strikes and court actions by union chapters against their respective councils all point to the collapse of the recognition agreement. Having an agreement without putting in place a legal institutional framework of implementation is akin to putting the cart before the horse. Failing to institutionalize the recognition agreement has given councils a due advantage to frustrate our CBAs. The cure to this problem shall be found in law. Either through forcing an amendment in Parliament or seeking constitutional interpretation of this act in court and having the offensive sections nullified or aligned with the Constitution. This will help entrench the dawn in the governance structure and through the union. That way, no policy would ever be done without the input of the union. The reason why KNUT and COPET are largely successful in influencing basic education policy is because they helped craft the Basic Education Act and ensured their membership in all the governance structures, right from the National Stakeholders Forum to county education boards, high school BOMs, and to primary school committees. Our WASU leadership did not care to give their input in the designing of the University Act 2012. And therefore, as Dons, we got the short end of the stick. The situation now is worse than before this act came into force. The Dons have been thrown out of the councils. WASU leadership then must be held to account for sleeping on the job and treating us to hollow recognition agreements that are not enforceable, and therefore subjecting us to ridicule and frustration. My friends, what is the difference between this recognition agreement and the MOUs that are signed by politicians before elections, promising positions that don't exist in law, only for them to be trashed after the polls? Do you remember the famous NAC MOU of 2002 that promised the position of Prime Minister and 2 deputies? Our recognition agreement promises that councils shall consult the union chapters. Yet, the University Act 2012 does not compel councils to consult unions on policy matters. This has reduced union chapters to mere reactionaries, only acting after the fact. How much can a reactionary force achieve anyway? My friends, why should we beg to be consulted through a recognition agreement, yet the Constitution decrees it? For how long shall we beg for inclusion in governance and policy making, yet it is our constitutional right? We've got to say enough is enough. My friends, it cannot be business as usual. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Time has come for us to rise up and demand inclusion. It's going to be a tough fight, yet so crucial for our welfare. It's a fight we cannot afford to lose. That is why we cannot be led by cowards and spineless individuals. In the coming national elections, let us go for people who have the moral courage to demand our inclusion in the university governance, our constitutional right. Let us all join hands and demand shared governance for shared prosperity. Shared governance for shared prosperity. God bless WASU. Thank you.